guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber, and this particular email, this is a very interesting email that I got. This is from a guy, he's in his early 30s, and he tells his story about how when he was growing up, high school, college, all that, this guy was the classic bad boy type. Okay, he was the type of guy, he was the that all the girls wanted, guys wanted to hang out with. This guy was all about partying and having a good time. And you're going to see here as I go through the story, as I go through his story, you're going to see about the different personality traits he has, which made him to be the bad boy type, but also helped him be so popular with his buddies, with women, because women, he was hooking up left and right with women growing up. This guy was the center of attention. He was the life of the party. You're going to see here how he has a lot of the bad boy traits where he was who he was and didn't care about anybody thought. He was all about the party. He was about hanging out with his bros. He spoke his mind, and he was very direct with women. And he also never made women a priority. However, they flocked to him. They were drawn to him like a magnet because of who he was at the center. He was the life of the party. He was the bad boy, and he didn't give a crap about them. But what's interesting is that this guy eventually, he settles down and gets married to one of the girls that liked him when he was younger. And unlike a lot of guys that get married where they become complete and total wimps and let their wives push them around and the wives have no respect for them and they're certainly not getting any or very much, this guy, he still remained the same guy. And his wife loves him to death. He sees her as his best friend. They have a great sex life, a lot of fun. He has a daughter. And so this is an example to show you guys, a rare example of where actually this guy actually has a happy marriage. So it can happen if the guy actually acts like a man and his lady respects him, because a woman can't love you if she doesn't respect you. Now, a woman's love is different than a man's love, but if she's going to have her version of love and true in love feelings, she's got to respect you, and she respects this guy. So I'm going to go through this guy's story here, and you're going to see all these traits, which I will point out. So a lot of you guys that obviously want to do relationships or maybe get married or you are married, because I know a lot of you guys that follow me are, you can listen in and see some of these traits he has that can help you out in your situation. I mean, you don't have to become, a jerk or anything, and this guy isn't a jerk. When he was younger, you could see he has certain personalities. You could see him as a jerk, but he's not that way now. You can definitely tell. And it may be able to help you out. So it's an interesting story that I'm decided to go with today. So it starts off, "Hey bro, I hope you're doing well and staying healthy. I'm going to try to make this too long, but this is a story about 11 or 12 years of my life. So when I was in high school, I was crazy. I wasn't a good-looking dude. I was probably a 4 or 5 in the looks department. I'm 6 feet tall, and I was around 150 to 160 pounds, depending on the season. So he was a relatively tall and thin guy. What put me low on the scale was my acne. My acne was so bad it would bleed, and you couldn't touch any of the areas of my back and face because it hurt so much. Well, that sucks. I was pretty lucky with the whole acne thing growing up as a teenager. I didn't get a whole lot, but I did have a period at 13, 14, and that definitely sucked. But there are some people that had it all over the place. I felt bad for them, so that's what I'm kind of picturing here. He says, it ended up leaving scars on my face and a few small ones on my back. However, I somehow managed to get a different girl every week. Sometimes more than one a week. I'm not entirely sure how that happened. Well, I know how it happened, and just by reading his story, I know how it happened, and I'm going to point that out. But I was crazy. My time wasn't spent much on girls. It was spent on the party. That was my life. If I was in the room, you knew it. I don't think it was on purpose. I think it was because I didn't care about anything. If I was there, it was a good time. I was loud and wasn't afraid to do anything. Okay, so let's review. He's wondering, how do you do it? How do you get all these girls? Well, right there, because he said he didn't care. He didn't care about the girls. He cared about the party. He cared about having a good time. And he was the life of the party, the center of attention. Those type of guys, they walk into a room and the whole room changes. Okay, they command the room. Now, sometimes guys like this, they're a little too loud, obnoxious. You can't stand them, okay? But this guy obviously was younger, so we'll give him a pass. But we've known guys like that. But women love guys that have status. And so the guy that usually walks in the room and everybody notices and everybody's hanging on their words and they're having a good time, Women are going to be drawn to guys like that. Now, for guys that are more introverted, that's not your area. That's not going to be your area, but you can develop the attitude that this guy has where he didn't care. He was about hanging out. You can see here what he's saying, hanging out with his bros, having a good time, and letting the women come to him. He wasn't chasing after them. He wanted to drink and party, have a good time. It's not that hard. I tell you all the time, guys, just like that, for those of you guys who are interested in dating, relationships, all that, stop chasing after them, okay? You go out and do these things and have a great time, and they'll see you having a great time, not with this thirsty, hungry attitude, and they'll come to you. It's not that hard. He says, really, I should be dead, but my college years, and he says college in quotes, were these years in the 9th through 12th grade. In other words, in 9th through 12th grade, it was like partying like people do in college. He says, if I was with a girl, it wasn't about her. My friends were usually there, and again, it was all about the party. I didn't treat them good at all. If I called them, and he says if, it was a booty call, and I'd be sure to tell them this is a booty call. See? It's all about the party, all about his friends, his bros hanging out, and if there's a girl there, great, but he doesn't really give a crap, and he says right there, if I called them, it was a booty call. He'll let them know. You got no chance, okay? This is hookups. Very direct, okay? And the girl's probably thinking, ooh, challenge, because every other guy's chasing after me and trying to make me their girlfriend, but this guy, he's not trying to do any of that, so I'm going to chase him. I want him because all the other girls want him. He's the guy with status. He doesn't care, so I'm going to get him. It's crazy how it works, but that it is how it works. He says, I was drunk or almost the entire time from 14 through 20. Most of the girls, the ones I remember, were probably between sixes and nines. Okay, so he went from just not bad looking, cute, to nines that were freaking hot. I didn't necessarily have a standard, but I had a type, I guess. Fit and at least cute. That was it. But there were more than I can name, count, or remember. It was nuts. My mom hated it, my dad didn't realize it, and my grandpa high-fives it. It was great. Yeah, I bet his mom hated it because her son, this guy, was the type of guy that her mom probably liked when she was younger, but, it was the same deal. Okay, she could see it right then and there. And Grandpa's giving him high fives because Grandpa, he's proud. He's like, yeah, that's great, grandson, because he's a grandpa. He can't do that anymore. And who knows about the dad. He says, he goes on, so in the 11th grade, I met Jen. She was fun, pretty, and a bit crazy. A few times she almost had my pants off in the lunchroom. She also said she was going to marry me. I told her she was crazy. But she was more interesting and far cooler than any of the other women. I still always said I'll never get married. Never say never, guys. That's one thing I've learned over the years. Never say never. But notice he's talking about this girl who's eventually going to become his wife. He says she's a little crazy. Well, he needs someone. He says he's crazy. He needs her crazy to match his crazy. He says, eventually she left and moved to Maine with her mother. I continued to be insane. I got out of high school and still did all the same things. I did work in the family business from about the age of 8, so I always had money. I worked my butt off. Anyway, Jen, had moved back to New York at some point about a year after graduating. I called her for a booty call. She knew it was a booty call. See, he's very direct. He doesn't hide his intentions. A lot of guys would just beat around the bush. No, this guy, he doesn't care, and that's the point. But it doesn't sound like he's being a jerk about it. He's just very direct. That's it. And a lot of guys aren't direct. Women respect men that are direct and speak their minds and who they are. You don't have to be a jerk about it, but just, you're not sugarcoating, you're not hiding. And guys like this, if the woman doesn't like it, fine. Who cares? He'll move on to another one because there's a never-ending supply. That's how you got to take it, guys. So it goes on. So that was about a week of calling and meeting up. The last time I made to her for a booty call, she picked me up because I was too drunk to drive. We were on our way to my best friend's house. He called and asked who I was with. I said, oh, that's my girlfriend. Jen said, girlfriend? I have a boyfriend. I said, yeah, I call it. Besides, you don't want that weak sack of a man. You're going to call him and break up with him for me. She made that call immediately. He was cheating on her anyway. This guy's alpha. Flat out said, nope, that guy's weak. He's not good enough for you. You're going to be my girlfriend. And like that, calls up the boyfriend and breaks up with him for this dude. How many guys have had the ability to pull that off, right? He says, within a week of calling it, making her my girlfriend, I moved in. Within 2 months, we shared a bank account and all the bills. Well, I wouldn't recommend that to anybody here. The only time that, in my opinion, you should move in with a woman is A, after you've been seeing her, dating her for years, where you've really gotten to see her in all situations to know what she's like, and B, and this is the most important part, if you plan on marrying her. Other than that, there's no reason. Okay? And again, you know my opinions about marriage in today's world, but a lot of guys are going to do it anyway. So you need that dress rehearsal. You need to test drive her, living with her to see what she's going to be like. Because if everything's great for years of dating her and you move in together, and then all of a sudden, after a few months, she starts acting psycho because you forgot to put the toilet seat down or take out the garbage or something stupid, or just she starts trying to control your life or trying to get you to stop hanging out with your friends all the time, or you see sides of her personality that you don't want. That's why you do the moving in with her, because then you know you don't want to marry her, okay? See, a lot of people are against that, but in my opinion, if you're going to get married, the big if there, you got to live with her for a little while to see what she's really like. And I don't mean just like a few months, because anybody can put on an act then, and even then you got to be careful. So I don't recommend that unless you're serious about getting married one day. And the other thing is, we shared a bank account together. I said this before. If you're gonna move in and you're gonna get married and you're gonna do bank accounts, you can have a joint bank account which you both use to pay your joint expenses, like the electric bill, the rent, the mortgage, the cable bill, the internet bill, whatever. But you should have 3 accounts. One for you, the guy, one for her, the woman, and one for you, which you put both your money into. So your paycheck or income goes into your account. Her income and her paycheck goes into her account, which she controls. And then you put whatever to the joint to take care of mutual bills. That's the best way to go about it. This also goes for credit cards. She has credit cards in her name, and you have credit cards in your name. You don't put her name on your cards, and she has put your name on her cards, okay? And this way it's separate. That way, because I've done horror stories where the guys have the joint bank accounts, and she's on the credit cards, and things go bad, and she starts racking up the credit cards, which he has to pay for. She empties the accounts. Not a good idea. But this guy got lucky here, he was obviously young and didn't know any better, but fortunately nothing bad happened. But just a little thing I want to point out, guys, in case you haven't seen my other videos pointing that point out. He continues, then sometime in the next year, I think, into it, I gave her a ring to marry me. Again, I didn't ask. I gave it to her while we were lying in bed. She got it, put it on her finger, and I rolled over and went to sleep. To be fair, I did tie it to my dog's collar. I'm not a barbarian. Geez, I can do romantic things. It's just very, very rare. Yeah, on occasion you can do the romantic things, but these guys are constantly doing all this romantic horse shit that you see in movies and TV. It's too much. Turns them off. But see, this guy is just... He put the ring on her finger. He didn't get down on one knee. He didn't ask permission of her dad. But this is who he is, and she loves him for it. He says, now I told her, listen to this, guys. Talk about him being direct. Listen to what I'm about to read here. He says, now I told her flat out in these words, if you ever get fat or lose your teeth, I'm out. I will divorce you. How many guys have the balls to say that? To be that direct? Upon a proposal, and she says yes, flat out, if you get fat and you lose your teeth or you let yourself go, that's it, I'm out. But this guy does, because this is who he is. And again, this is what she loves about him, because most guys they don't have a pair to do this. He's making it quite clear, so there's no confusion. And guys, I've said this before in other videos, women need to know that if they push you too far, disrespect you, let themselves go, do anything to displease you, and it goes too far, that you're going to walk, and you can walk away and replace them like that. Until they know that, they're never going to truly 100% respect you and love you, okay? It sounds cruel, but it is what it is. And many of you guys that have understood that and embraced that, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because you're never going to get... It's unfortunate, but it's a lot like with little kids. Until the little kid knows that if you push mom or dad too far, that you're going to basically get an ass whooping, okay? They're going to keep testing. They're going to keep testing the barriers all the time. Kids love to test. Women do the same thing. They need to know that you will walk, All right. Again, sounds harsh, but it is what it is. And for those of you guys that don't believe me, then keep on doing that nice guy thing. Keep letting them know that you're there for her forever, no matter what she says or does, and see how well she treats you, okay? But for those of you guys that have some experience, you know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, he says, everything was always out in the open, right? I did not hide my thoughts or what I was thinking. So we got married a year after that. Then 5 years ago, she gave birth to our daughter, Riley Ann. She's definitely mine. She looks exactly like like my mother and sister when they were young. Jen is my best friend. She has never, he puts this in giant letters, never told me no in the bedroom. Well, of course not, because she sees you as a prize. You're the king to her. That's awesome. But you're not going to get that if a woman doesn't see you as a prize. And she also knows darn well you can replace her like that. And she respects you. He says, most guys dream of BJs. I get these while I'm dreaming. Occasionally I'll wake up to some of these things already in progress. I can't think of a time she's told me no to something like that. That's, again, what happens when they see you as a prize. They'll do anything to please you. And it's not like they do it and hate it. They enjoy it because they enjoy making you happy. And they see you as the king. But you're not going to get treated like the king if you act like a jester. Okay? You have to be strong. You have to be masculine. And again, be seen as the prize. And make it known abundantly clear that if they push you too far or disrespect you or whatever, you can walk. Like that. And this guy said flat out, after he proposed to her, he said, if you get fat or you lose your teeth or anything like that, I'll divorce you. She knows. And I guarantee you, she's thin and looks good. He says, I know a lot of couples that say they finish each other's sentences, but we don't even have to start the sentence. She is a calm, more responsible version of me. She and I both said we would never thought we'd get married. I never thought I'd get married. But she said she'd never stop trying. Challenge. She says, I am 33 and she is 32. I'm not expecting a video out of this. I don't know what lessons you'd get out of my story. Well, there's a bunch of lessons out of this story, bro, about being a man, being masculine, about speaking your mind, being who you are, and not giving a crap, not chasing after women, letting them come to you, being all about having a good time where you are and seeing how they'll be drawn to you. Things like that. So there's good lessons out of this story. And a lesson that shows that, guess what? Some people can actually have good, happy marriages, but the woman has to respect the guy. She has to see him as a prize, and the guy always has to stay in that role. I guarantee you, if this guy, you can see his personality as I'm describing it in this email. If this guy all of a sudden stopped being the same guy that he is right now, if all of a sudden he stopped speaking his mind and started caving on different things, I guarantee you, even though up until this point she sees him as the king and treats him as the king, and he gets whatever he wants in the bedroom and all that and the respect, I guarantee if he started acting like a lot of typical married guys, that would stop. Mark my words. So he has to maintain these qualities and traits. So there's lots of good lessons in this story. He says, I just felt the need to send it to you. She was actually the one that introduced your channel to me. She clarified and agreed to everything you said. Well, give her a big thanks and a hug for recommending the channel. I appreciate that. She must be a cool chick. Believe me, not a whole lot of, about give or take 5 or 6% of my subscribers are women. Okay, the rest are all guys. And the women that follow me, because I get emails all the time from a lot of women, either emails or messages on Instagram telling me they appreciate what I do. They're a lot more traditional women. They're more feminine, they're traditional, and they absolutely loathe feminists and feminism. Okay? But majority of women are going to hate my guts. So you got a cool woman, so good for you. He says, I've been watching your videos for a few months now, probably close to 300 or so of your videos. I'd say 5 or more a day. I put your channel on while I'm driving and just listen. You did manage to get me back into a routine. I'm not fat or anything, but I'm definitely out of shape. And I don't personally relate to most of the situations, but I have friends that do. And honestly, your videos have made me realize how fortunate I really am. But I don't tell Jen that part. Haha. Thanks for all the great content. God bless. Well, dude, that's an awesome email. Thank you for sharing your story, okay? That's great. Keep doing what you're doing with your woman. Don't ever change. Always speak your mind, and she'll keep treating you the way she is. Guaranteed. And that's awesome. But guys, this goes to show you, for those of you who want to do marriages, okay, because I don't recommend it because you know all the stories I do, but if you're going to do it, This is a perfect example. It can work, but she's got to see you as the prize. You've got to be that way all the time, because he starts slipping up, I guarantee you the royalty treatment will stop, or at least will subside until you stop. That's why women test guys often, because they want to make sure you're that type of guy that they've fallen in love with and want to be with, okay? It's a pain in the ass, all the testing, but it is what it is. But that's a great story, you know, and my advice to this guy, he says he's getting into a routine. He says he's not fat but out of shape. If you never worked out before, I would recommend joining a gym. And if you don't know what you're doing in terms of lifting, hire a personal trainer for just a few sessions. It'll cost some money, but it's worth it, because the trainer will teach you the basic fundamentals of different exercises. And you can do it twice a week, and probably within 6 months to a year, you'll definitely notice, after consistent training, just be careful, you'll start to notice some positive changes in your physique, you know. But just eat well, and you can't just work out and then eat like crap. You got to eat healthy, you know. But you do that, you'll look good. So anyhow, appreciate the story. I think it was a really good one. But guys, it goes to show you, these are some of the traits you got to pick up and have, okay? And for those of you guys that want to have nothing to do with women, this is an example of masculinity. Being who you are, not giving a crap, speaking your mind, not seeking people's approval, that type of thing. People respect people like that. And in today's world, you have more and more people that simply apologize for everything. They apologize for what they think. They apologize for how they act. They apologize for everything, okay? This guy is non-apologetic. He is who he is. And let me point this out. You're going to encounter people in life, when you are who you are and you speak your mind, and not necessarily being mean about it, but just who you are, guess what? You're going to have people that aren't going to like you. It is what it is. They're going to disagree with your points of view, your politics, your views on everything. But at the end of the day, who the hell cares? Because there are going to be people that will like you for who you are. End of story. You can't make everybody happy. Believe me, I got a lot of people that don't like me. And I don't give a shit. Okay? But it's taken me to this point in my life to get to that point. But I got a lot of people that do like me, so that works for me. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.